Brothers and sisters, thank you for joining me today. I believe that this is video number 10, and I thought that I was done after video number 9 when I explained all of how creation lined up, and they were like, well, you gave the 12s, now explain how it all added up to 48, so put everything back into creation balance. So there are more teachings coming. So I am going to show you how this lines up with with everything that they've given me. And it starts clearly with the scales coming back into balance. And that comes back into balance as we are recentered back in our heart center, and our candlesticks are lit. So I'm going to turn to the whiteboard and explain this to the best of my ability. Okay? So if you see here, and hopefully you can see this, we're going to talk first about, so the return of creation balance. In order for a new heaven and earth to be created, all things have to come back into balance. They cannot come back into balance for new heaven and earth without creation balance returning. So this is what creation balance is. So this started clearly first with the dream in 2021 in October, where I was shown Yahshua, igniting the earth on fire, and the events throughout the day. And then at night, he handed me over to Father, and Father rolled back the night sky like a scroll. So, it was displayed, the worlds without numbers and how they were created. So this has been a progression over the last 3.5 years. And the arches were shown, and I don't have the arches on this one. I'm going to put them up next. But I was shown the golden arches and this perfect balance of male and female energy that must flow through them. So this is the male and female energy in balance over here. That's what these 48s are. Okay, so I'm going to explain this. So it progressed with the 40-day teachings, and then he had Father had me observe the lunar Sabbath for about a year before he gave me creation calendar. And in creation calendar, it was broke down the Sabbath and the new moon feast, and then it was given the 7 feast, and then the seasons, directions, Mazaroth, all of that. So we're going to talk about how this goes into balance, okay? And how everything in male and female energy from creation, from Father and Mother, was put in perfect balance of 48. Okay, so in creation calendar, there's 354 days. And there are 36 Sabbaths of light and 12 new moon feasts. And the Mother is in charge of those new moon feasts. Also, these Sabbaths of light are really key. So if we have creation calendar, it's important for us to have it, because in that we realize we follow the moon phases. And right now, the moon has been out of her place. And as she prepares to go back into alignment of her place and take her place again, we'll see the moon and the stars, everything realign where they're supposed to be, back into perfect creation balance from the beginning. So it's typically on those moon phases. And this was all outlined in the creation calendar. There was a note that was given with that at the beginning of the calendar. So these Sabbaths of light become really important because Yahshua had said that upon the rock of the Spirit is what he builds his kingdom upon, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. These Sabbaths of light being observed on the correct day, and why they're called Sabbaths of light, is because the work being done for the kingdom every 7 days, or 6 days, and then on the 7th day you rest, is being sanctified. It's literally being handed to God, over to Father and Mother, and presented to them, the work, and then it's recorded in the books of life, and they sanctify that work within you that has been done for the kingdom. This also, the Sabbath of light, becomes a protection to their children, and that is why Yahshua taught the gates of hell shall not prevail against the kingdom. So these become a protection to the people as they build a new heaven and earth upon the earth. So these, to be worshiping on the correct day, is really important, and it is exactly why Satan had the Sabbath performed on a day that man has created, nothing to do with the sun, the moon, and the stars, and Genesis, those were the signs for days, months, seasons, and years. And so they've gotten away from that. And there's a profound reason why, because then it causes disruption and it keeps the people away from the protection that the Sabbath actually provides for them. So then we have the Maseroth, okay? So you take the 36 Sabbaths of light and the 12 new moon feast, and you get the creation balance of 48. So then we go to the Maseroth. And the Maseroth is dual purpose. It has 12 months and in it, and let's see, 12 months, and then the clock is 12 hours in a day, dusk to dawn, and then it has the 4 night watches. So if you go to, this 12 times 4, we're going to go down here, okay? So 12 times 4, in Revelation 22:2, it says there are 12 fathers, there are 12 tribes, there are 12 fruits, and 1 fruit for each month. So if you have 1 fruit for each month, it's 12, okay? So that is how we get the balance of creation calendar as well. And we know that it's a 12-month cycle. So you take 12 times the 4, the father, the tribe, the fruit, and the month, and you get 48. Then you also use the Maseroth as a clock. So you take 12 times the 4 night watches. So this is dusk to dawn, and then the night watches are this is backwards. Dusk to dawn, yes, is the night watches. Sorry. Okay, I do have this backwards, so I'm going to erase this. Sorry. Okay. So this is the night watches, and they are dusk to dawn, and then we have the 12 hours in a day, which is dawn to dusk. Okay, so again, the 12 hours in a day times the 4 night watches, you get the 48. Okay, so we've talked about this. 12, if you have 12 fathers, 12 tribes, 12 fruits, 12 months, 48. Okay, then the healing dial that they gave me. Okay, so it's the dial. It's our heart center, which is why I circled heart center. So our dial is our heart center, that we are fully tuned into heaven. And this also represents the rainbow in Revelation 4 or 5. The rainbow, but that rainbow is truly our heart center, which is why our heart center is an emerald. But that's the reflection off of our heart center. So around the throne, this dial, when they gave me the dial, around the throne room is the council table. And you have 24 kings, and you cannot have the kings without the queens. So you have 24 queens. So Revelation 4 through 6, and then Proverbs. This is really cool, and they showed me this. So you have the 24 plus the 24 kings and queens, and it's the creation balance of 48. And then in Proverbs 12:4, it says the virtuous woman is the crown of her husband. That shows you this right here. She is the crown of her husband. And it just happens to be 4, Proverbs 12:4. So if you times the 4 times 12, again, you get 48. Okay, so next we're going to look at the golden arches that were shown above each world. Okay, and these golden arches have to have both energies, a male and female energy going through them, because they are the arches. So this is the arch. All these golden arches were connected to the first kingdom. And so in order to stay connected and to have a kingdom in balance that does not fall because of out of balance, this energy must flow perfectly like father and mother's golden arch flows perfectly. And so in that strand, that light cord, which represents our menorah, flowing through us, you have, in that golden arch, you have 24 male and 24 female, which again equals the, sorry, I didn't write that very well, the 48 within the golden arches. So then again, it witnesses of creation balance of 48. So next we're going to go into the seasons, and the dial is really important in this because everything pivots on the dial. Okay, so we have everything pivoting from the throne room in this, square diamond. You can make it into the triangles and the circle. You can't, everything has to pivot, so there has to be the circle. It's sacred geometry. So in the seasons, you have the 12 months and you have the 4 seasons. So we have clearly spring, summer, harvest, and winter. And to everything under heaven, there is a season. And so in our life, every 3.5 months, we go through a different season. And rather that's, planting, rather that's a time of growth and learning, rather that's a time of harvesting, tending and nurturing the seeds that have been planted and then harvesting them. And then in the, winter, we enter into the Lord's rest. There's seasons under everything in heaven. There are seasons, including in our growth. So seasons, again, testifies of if you take the 12 months times the 4 seasons, you get the 48 creation balance of male and female energy in the seasons as well. Okay, so next we have the directions. And when they had me show this, if you can see this down here, okay, here is the wheel, the 48 that is balancing, and there are 12 points. There are 2 points in between each direction. So what they call them were degrees. So like as the sun rotates, right, within the seasons and directions, it's 1 click at a time as it rotates, okay? So there's 12 degrees, 12 points in the directions. And this can go for seasons too. Their degrees are 12 points that click. And there's 4 directions, east, north, south, and west. And so it pivots on, again, the dial, the 48. So if you take the 12 points or degrees times the 4 directions, you get the 48. Again, creation, balance, and alignment. Okay, so next we have our menorah or candlestick. And you see that everything, if you can see this, everything pivots from our love and compassion. So we have 6 female and 6 male attributes that came from Father and Mother, because the 7th one is what makes our very essence, which is the love and compassion. So that is what everything spins on in the throne room, is this love and compassion, and then knowledge and wisdom. So it's a spinning process, okay? So when we look at the menorah, our candlesticks, if they're in perfect alignment, we have 4 chambers of our heart. That's something that has been gone through in these videos. So if you haven't watched them, I encourage you to do so. But we have the 4 chambers of our heart. And as we go through the process of our heart being healed and made new, there are the 6 male attributes and the 6 female attributes, which equal 12. So you times the 12 attributes in each section of our menorah heart chamber. Chambers of our heart. Okay. And then you times the 12 by the 4, and again, you get creation balance of 48. Okay, hopefully you can see this. I just realized that I was shading that board, and so hopefully as you zoom in, you were able to see what was happening. So yesterday, when I did the video on the creation balance, and I was so excited, and that's why I was like, okay, go back, and you gotta like put 48 in there, because I put 12, and I was trying to explain the 48, and it's like, break it down. So, okay. So I was kind of stumped a little bit, I was like, why was I told to put the feast in there? I'm not understanding. Okay, so again, this pivots, right, within a 12-month cycle. So you have the dial spinning, and you have every direction being hit within the feast, seasons being hit. So everything is, so a menorah, right? Everything is spinning. You're going through the seasons, you're going through the directions. And in the process of that, Yahshua's goal is to take us to where he is. Okay, so what is the last feast that happens in a year? It is literally the Feast of Pentecost, which happens on 10/14. And it's the 7th one. Again, so that's explaining this is our heart center. Our heart center is the love and compassion. Everything comes from our heart center. Okay, so that's why Father and Mother attributes, if you were looking at this, Father and Mother's attributes, so you have the heart center. Okay, so that's the 7th. And if you I'm going to go into Revelation 4 and 5. It will make a lot more sense why it says it's the seven spirits of Father. It'll make a lot more sense. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So, this dial, this seventh attribute is the loving and spinning, it's the love and compassion of our very essence. So if we understand that, and these are the attributes that we gain in, we talked about this, it's the 4 directions, it's the 4 seasons, it's the 4 elements of the earth. So we have, water, fire, wind, and land, and then we have the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. Father and mother are always directly across from each other. So when that energy flows, like we talked about, right, it flows unrestricted of male and female energy. So they are always opposite of one another, flowing in this perfect balance, uninterrupted of their energy. Okay, so with that understood with our menorah, I'm going to show you this one more time. Okay, so the day of Pentecost, when our heart center is fully activated, we are taken into the throne room, and we go through this experience. And as we align our heart centers and align our menorahs, are brought back into that healing process, our heart, our 4 chambers of our heart are healed. The day of Pentecost takes place, and it's done within the throne room, which activates, again, you being able to read your tree of life, your spiritual gifts, those things. It's literally, that is the day of Pentecost that activates our spiritual gifts. So that is the beauty of the feast and what it represents and how it brings us into the alignment, so we can participate in the day of Pentecost. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. So this is the what our menorah looks like without when it's spinning. So and without any frequency going through it. So this is really beautiful because there's a couple different things to this. So so there was a couple different prophecies, and one of them that was given by me, but it was talking about April showers bring May flowers. Okay, this is the balance. The flowers, what are the flowers? The flowers represent mother. Okay, so if you look at this from this perspective, for one, it makes a beautiful flower in there. Okay. So the flowers will bloom. Okay. Creation balance of male and female energy, right? We have to step out of the patriarchal dominance and come back into balance of male and female energy. And in so doing that, the woman once again will bloom. So the flower is really important because it represents the woman's heart being reactivated into her true essence of who she is. And also the men, they need to come back into balance of male and female energy. So this is both, but bringing the female energy back into this so that the world can be removed out of patriarchal dominance. That's what this represents. So this flower, and then in return of this, okay, so I'm going to remove this flower really quick. Oh, I should have used a different eraser there. Let's see. Okay. So then you are going to have, again, let's do the 4 chambers of a heart. And if we understand what that represents, so in each section, right? Whoops. Okay, so you have east, and you have west, and you have south, and you have north. Okay, and there are 4 heads of the rivers, of the river that flow out of Eden. So in the desert, it's been prophesied that they had me prophesied that the water will spring up in places this world has never seen before. How is that done? From having our heart in complete alignment back, right? Because these directions lead you back into Eden, back into the eternal truths, and that were there before they were placed into the world. And so these streams of water, as people's hearts are healed, you're going to see water spring up in places you never saw before. And that's symbolic very much so within ourselves of this water in, desert. What is desert? This has been very, very dry land. There's been no water because of the veiling of the world and the eternal truths that were forgot. And so now these four heads of the river, of the four rivers that flow out of Eden, will abundantly give up their water, because these areas within us, so that again, that's the healing dial, our heart center, the dial is you're fully tuned into heaven, right? So if this represents even Eden, right, they had the truths, they communicated with Father and Yahshua, and also Mother. I need to put Mother in there before Yahshua, or Jehovah. So this is the water that will flow out of a healed heart. And it will be used to, again, those healed hearts, what the people will be sent out to heal the nations from all four corners of the earth. And again, that's in the book of Revelation. So I pray that this helps us see the beauty of, in order for a new heaven and earth to be created, this balance and a new kingdom, what it is it's a kingdom being created. This balance of male and female energy has to return in order for that to happen. And that's why it's so important that we keep the scales balanced once they're in balance, that we don't take them back out of balance, because that male and female energy needs to be in perfect balance with creation, so that we can truly, kingdom age is all about the correct balance of male and female energy, and our hearts are truly weighed as light as that feather, because the male and female energy within ourselves and within unions are in perfect alignment. So there is no more imbalance in creation. It's just in alignment, and that's why our candlesticks, right? This is our candlestick, and the ways, but I'm moving the scales, right? Then this would be our candlestick, and our menorah is fully lit in the perfect alignment of 48 of male and female energy. Okay, so brothers and sisters, I pray that that's just more information for you to take to the Lord, and may we be ready and in that position to truly step into our spiritual gifts. So 2 things really quick that I was just instructed. It's so important when we ground ourselves. That can be part of our, our heart center and keeping ourselves in balance. When we ground ourselves to the earth, it's so important that we turn all 4 directions. And in so doing, we practice breath work. So that, so we're breathing in, we're holding it for those 8 seconds, which is really important. And then we're releasing it. And so let the Spirit guide you through that. But it's super, super important that we ground ourselves daily in the earth as we go out, and we literally, and we do it from all 4 corners of the earth. Okay, and so the grounding is super important. Hitting all 4 directions and breath work is super important. And then that evaluation with our hearts to keep our heart chambers flowing with that living water, freely flowing. So evaluating our hearts every day and making sure that there isn't stuff that's starting to block them. And so allowing the energy to freely move through them of male and female energy. And then the next thing is we realize that everything happens first spiritually and then physically. So in order for a kingdom to be brought forth, they have to go through this spiritual awakening. They have to be took through their redemption process and their healing process. And so that's where the first role of the next king comes into play, is he's taking his people through their spiritual awakening and back into remembrance, back into balance of how things were before the world got a hold of it, before things can enter into the physical. So may we continue this journey in the spiritual so that it is brought forward in the physical, and the kingdom can fully return in the physical and not just the spiritual aspect of it. So I pray that this helps us see the beauty in all that has been given, and just the absolute, it's beautiful. There are no words. It's just, I sit in awe when I look at everything and how it's all been given and how it all balances in that perfect creation balance from the beginning. So take it to Yahshua for yourself. Have a marvelous day.